Hi guys, I was hoping to be sitting in front of you this week talking about my latest video where I explore going to a tournament post-COVID. So that's me just gone and picked up Stephen, my man here.
Hello.
It's about 7 AM and now we're going to drive all the way down to Nottingham. Hopefully coming back with the first. What are you aiming for?
Top 3 would be good.
Top 3. He's happy with a wooden spoon, he's fine. He's just enjoying a day out. Alright, I'll talk back to you when I get there. Unfortunately, due to some data corruption and some weird things that happened at the tournament, I don't actually have a full episode to show you this week. However, I promise you when it comes out, it's worth hearing about. So instead, I hope you stick around so you can hear about the new cool stuff that's going to be happening to the channel. Firstly, look what arrived early. Yep, it's the speed paints. And I'm going to put these to the test against the contrast paints, but I'll also be putting on 5 more ways that you can actually use this in addition to my existing video. If you've not seen that, check it out. But most importantly, I want to tell you about our new podcast, the Hobby Hoarders Podcast, where myself and Matt sit down to discuss topics every week. Sam, how would you describe the podcast? Actually, that's an excellent point. What is this podcast about? I mean, it's all things hobby, I would say. Anything about the tabletop, anything we feel like discussing. I'm not selling it amazingly, am I? What my point is it's not actually just about Game of Thrones. Well, what would you describe the podcast as?
Game of Thrones. It's about Game of Thrones.
Oh, wow. I didn't actually explain what the podcast is about. Well, the podcast is about all things hobby. Every week we're going to take a topic such as... That topic today is going to be tournaments, whether we think they're good for the hobby, what are our experiences, etc., whether we think we should attend one or not. Then we're going to also take deep dives into more important, serious topics, like mental health. Matt here is opening up just a little bit about what's going on.
I have started decluttering my hobby because as you can probably see from this room, I could pan the camera around, but there's a lot of stuff around me, and I was getting to a point where it was causing me a bit of stress, and it's hard to think about stressing about your hobby, but you get to a point where you're panicking about things you've bought and you're not using, miniatures you've bought and not painted, miniatures you've bought and not made, and I just went, I've had enough. And we had a war boot recently. Of course, it's not all doom and gloom. We'll be discussing some of our favourite hobby memories. Here, for example, is me getting gushy over the old pricing system for Games Workshop, but also a model that meant something to me. All of the prices, they didn't have prices, they had letters. Oh, okay. No.
You probably would remember if you look at some of your old ballista packs, but like A was like the cheapest, F was one of the more expensive ones, and so he let me have an F, and I don't know why that stuck with me. Again, that's one of those miniatures I'm like, why did I sell? I wish I'd kept it because it has such a memory.
Wow. Yeah.
Because it was basically bribery. It was bribery. Thanks, Dad. Not only that, but hear about models that actually mean something to us. I don't know about you, but this story about Matt's favourite model really brings a tear to the eye.
It's like a first Lehman Russ from sort of like first edition and stuff. There's a Rogue Trader era and stuff, and he has his 2 wolves, and it was the first ever professionally painted model that I ever had. My mother bought it for me when a place called The Dungeon in Belfast, and it was before we had Games Workshop, and I loved that model, and she bought it for me, and my dog chewed it up, and I was gutted. And then my mate Russell found the metal one online, and he got it for me for Christmas, and I painted him up and I put him back, and I got some wolves and I put a base on, and I just sort of...
We'll be discussing things like how we met.
I'll play with you.
Do you want to meet a random man in his separate gaming dungeon?
Yeah, it was. Come to my house in my gaming dungeon and play games with me, Sam. Okay.
And of course, all those main topics, every podcast will be giving deep insights into how things work. About tournaments. So tournaments, good thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Really? That's your summary after 2 hours of talking? Oh, come on! Finally, it wouldn't be a hobby podcast if we didn't actually, do some painting. So we'll be showing off our painted models and discussing all things hobby that we've been thinking about over the last week.
And the things, because it's got quite a good sort of, like the tentacles and stuff like that, or the arms for the, where his tentacles are or contrast with sort of blended into normal paint and stuff like that.
And do you like them enough? Do you think you would try this, competitor?
No, I don't. I don't.
$8 a pot versus $4 a pot.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't use them enough to sort of justify it because.
Down in the description below is a link to go and see our first ever episode, except it's kind of an unofficial episode. We weren't happy with the audio, so instead all the clips you've seen are from that unaired episode. If you want to watch it in its entirety, check down below and let us know what you think. New episodes will be going live every Sunday, so we hope you join us and maybe give that channel a subscribe, before you even got the first episode out. I hope to see you there, and I'll also see you here next week for our new video on more speed paints.